Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. Yay, I'm back. What do you mean you're back? What, you didn't notice I was gone? There was no video yesterday. I just got back from Cologne. Well, hang on a minute. Didn't you say you were going to Dusseldorf? Well, yeah, I flew to Dusseldorf. Actually, I'll get into this in more detail in next week's Mingles with Jingles, because there is quite a story to tell. Suffice to say, I'm back home. I'm extremely tired because I've been travelling all day. But you didn't get a video yesterday, and I promised that normal service would be resumed today. So before I go to bed, I'm cranking out a quick video for you. And since we did kind of overdose on World of Warships last week, today's video is World of Tanks. Today's video features the Tier 6 French light tank, the AMX-12T, with a 75mm 4-shot autoloader, and it's being played for us today by Backjusser, or possibly Backjusser, or maybe even Backjusser. Oh, you know what, we're just going to call him Dave. I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. Jingles, this Dave person seems to submit a lot of replays to you. He does, doesn't he? I think I must feature replays, more replays from Dave than everybody else combined. He's a very prolific World of Tanks player. So yes, Dave. On the Karelia map, although it's Assault and he's on the defending team. So it's a 10-minute rather than a 15-minute map timer. Did he get spotted when he came up here? I didn't see Sixth Sense go off. Okay, yeah, I think we can assume he did in fact get spotted. And if the Sixth Sense icon lit up, I certainly didn't see it. So despite having a mark of mastery on the 75mm gun barrel on this tiny little French light tank, it does look as if Dave here doesn't actually have Sixth Sense on the commander. What's this guy going to do? You want some of this? There's one. You missed. There's two. And he's had enough of that because he's nearly dead after just 2 hits. 2 shots remaining in the 4-shot autoloader. Dave decides to go for a reload. Whoops, sorry about that. Nearly drove into a teammate. Well, having put a couple of shots into an enemy tank, Dave is now going to fall back pretty much all the way back to his base. And if you have a look at the map, it shouldn't be too hard to figure out why. 3 light tanks down here on the southern western corner of the map, and absolutely nobody in a position to give them any kind of support fire except possibly the M37 artillery, as Dave spotted again, and enemy campers on the high ground over to the other side of the map take shots at him, and that one looked like artillery trying to hit him on the move. When you're defending on Karelia, there are usually no shortage of base campers, and that's certainly the case further to the north, but not down here on the other end of the map. And in fact, now that Dave is relocated, he is pretty much the only person on the team in a position to give any kind of support and fire to that poor 5916. As he lines up his 4-shot 75mm autoloader, that Stuart, his first shot misses, the second one doesn't, the third one doesn't either, but bounces. Because, you know, 75mm gun hitting a Stuart, yeah. And the 5916 is in serious trouble. The Leopard managed to relocate as well, but the 5916 a little bit too slow, caught between the Stuart and the T67, and he's dead. And yes, Dave, unfortunately you are now, once again, the first line of your team's defence at this end of the base. You see, just because you're defending on Karelia does not mean that all you have to do is move 50 metres from your spawn point and then camp behind the nearest rock. Somebody has to go forward to spot enemy targets, and that's happened further to the north, but the base campers are proving to be fantastically ineffective at shooting the targets that the few brave souls who ventured more than 100 metres from the spawn point are spotting for them. Down here on this other end of the map, there's now nobody up there to spot, and so Dave's having to go forward and find his own targets. And he does manage to find the T67. He's not the only one shooting at him, but he's the only one that actually hits him. So that's now the team's second kill. And they have lost 6 of their own. Wait for it, 7 of their own. More importantly, all of the brave souls who ventured out from the base to the north are now dead. So all of those base campers, they've now got nobody spotting targets for them. Not that they were capable of killing enemy tanks when there was somebody spotting targets for them. So now, of course, the first time they see an enemy tank, the enemy can see them as well. And that's probably not going to work out too well for them, given how terrible they were at killing anything when the enemy team couldn't see them because they were engaging other friendlies further to the north. T-37 taken out. Remember, it's always a good idea to kill an enemy tank if you can. There's no such thing as kill stealing unless you're deliberately holding your fire and waiting to take the killing shot. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to do any damage to the enemy AMX-12T, although it looks like the enemy tank must be reloading as well because he didn't take the time to stop, turn around and shoot at Dave. Meanwhile, further to the south, that T-37 doing a great little job over there, and Dave, very conscious of how much his ass was left hanging in the breeze when he was in the T-37's position, determined to give him the kind of backup and support he needs. Kills the AMX ELC, 2 shots remaining. AMX-12T has just turned up, skirts around the rock, finishes him off. 1 shot left. His team currently have 4 tanks left alive against 9 enemies, and that's going to get worse before it gets better. You can't do an awful lot in an AMX-12T with 1 shot, so he goes for the reload and gets the hell out of there as the enemy team comes sweeping in from the north. Funnily enough, who would have seen this one coming? All the guys that camped the base proved to not actually be particularly good players, and they've been crushed. There's now only 3 of them left. Stug, fall back, he says. I can support you. So naturally the Stug does the exact opposite. Gets hit once, gets hit twice, gets hit 3 times, dead. There's now 2 of them against 9 enemies. 2 of them against 8 enemies. 2 of them against 7 enemies. 2 shots left. Oh, missed. 1 shot left. It's not going to kill him, but it's done some damage. Now let's get the hell out of there. You'll notice Dave went for the targets that he could kill, because at this point, when there's only 2 of you left, it's all about, and yes, they have seen him. Run, Dave. Run for your life. At this point, it's all about reducing the number of guns firing back at you. And that T-37 is not being idle either. He's managed to score a couple of kills as well, which is just as well because nobody else has. I mean, they're the only tanks on the team that have killed anything. So naturally, they form a battlefield platoon because there are medals up for grabs. Brothers in arms, crucial contribution, all kinds of good stuff. 5 enemies remaining. 3 minutes and 20 seconds of the game remaining. 1 enemy tank is capping. And right now the only thing we know for sure is it's not the KV-1S. Now Dave doesn't know, because he doesn't have 6th sense, whether or not he got spotted. But if you don't know, it's always just prudent to assume that you did. So he doesn't just pop around the corner and aim at the KV-1S, he keeps moving. And he only stops now to aim at this Swedish TD after he's fired, so he knows he can afford to aim at him. Kills him, but the cap counter's still going. He was obviously not the one capping. Loads the APCR because it's a Matilda after all. Bang! Damage done to the Matilda. And the T-37 has nailed the enemy artillery, but the damaging hit on the Matilda reset the cap counter. The T-37 finishes him off. Some lovely teamwork going on here. And gets moving again just in time as the KV-1S, who is actually armed with the 122mm howitzer, firing high explosive, doesn't miss him by much. And now it's 2 versus 2. These guys have 13 kills between the 2 of them. Now they only have to kill the KV-1S and the M8A1. Well, actually they don't, because they're on the defending team and it's assault. They just have to avoid being killed by the KV-1S and the M8. And they're both in tier 6 light tanks. So how hard can it be? There's now less than 2 minutes of the game remaining. At this point, the only realistic option the enemy team have is for both of them to get into the cap circle, because it takes 1 minute and 40 seconds for 1 tank to cap. And there's 1 minute and 40 seconds of the game left. But the M8's been spotted, and now he's dead. Nice little run there from the T-37, which means it is now almost impossible for that KV-1S to win. In order to win, what he has to... Ooh, careful, careful, Dave. That tank's fragile. He just did more damage to himself. He did more damage to himself coming down the cliff face there than the entire enemy team were capable of doing to in this entire match. But the only way that KV-1S can win now is to kill both of them, because there is not enough time remaining for him to cap, assuming he's even anywhere near the cap circle. But Dave, his spider sense is tingling. He doesn't think the KV-1S is anywhere near the cap circle, and the reason why he came down from the cliff face is like that, because he wants to get around behind where he's expecting the KV-1S to be. And there he is with his big, dumb, stupid 122mm howitzer. There's one, there's two, he's only got one shot left, there's three, not quite enough to finish him. There's only 40 seconds of this game left. You see, it's all a question of how badly Dave wants that kill, and how stupid he thinks that KV-1S is. Because while that KV-1S is going to be a one-shot kill for Dave once he's reloaded, he's a one-shot kill for that 122mm howitzer, which can do 450 average damage. And the AMX-12T is a lot of things, but heavily armoured is not one of those things. So, if that KV-1S realises somebody was shooting at him from behind and has turned around and has the gun pointing in the... Really? No, his plan, rather than to turn around and derp Dave in the face as he came around the corner looking for the final kill, his plan in a KV-1S was to try to outrun an AMX-12T. Unsurprisingly, that didn't work out very well for him. So, Dave in the AMX-12T, earning himself a brace of medals heavy enough to cause him to walk with a permanent list to starboard from now on, just humiliating an entire enemy team, ably assisted, it must be acknowledged, by his partner in crime, Kapiskis, in the T-37, who was one hell of a random teammate. And that is pretty much it for today in World of Tanks. Short video, I know, but I'm really tired. I've just gotten back from Germany and I want to go to bed. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.